So I live in a self-converted bus. I work for myself. Well, I wouldn't say I am swimming in cash, but I do manage to pay the bills and still plan and work towards the future. My future plans, more specifically. So I've been freelancing for myself for about 3.5 years, 4. What I do is I am a graphic designer. I make social media content for people and schedule it, and I also do websites. So between those 3 income streams, I pretty much cover my bases. So I have my own clients, and then I also do contract work for my friends. That way, if I want to leave a specific area and I can't do things locally, I still have a way to make money. Right now, I mostly have my own clients, so I can concentrate on them and then also making this content. Personally, I don't like short-term projects. I like to work with a client over a long period of time because I specialize in branding and building all the pieces out for that for a client. Because I would rather do design work than try to go out and constantly get a flow of clients coming in. But I know if I want to move, all I have to do is make a phone call and be like, hey, do you need help? And usually there's always work out there if you have a skill, especially after the pandemic where working remotely is kind of becoming the new norm. I'm really glad it's catching on, to be honest. I am so much more productive working for myself in a lot less hours than having to go somewhere for 8 hours. I just cannot do an 8-hour workday to save my life. So I did this very chaotically, and I think I could have done it better, so I would have been a little bit more comfortable the first 6 months to a year, because I was broke. All of my money went towards building out the bus or just trying to get food. And I remember at some point my shoes broke, so I just started wearing chocks and socks, and I taped the outside of my shoes with black electrical tape. So within the span of 2 months, I quit my job, started my business, gave up my lease on my apartment, and then started building out the bus and moved into a old, shitty Itasca from the 70s. And I've never camped before. I've stayed in a tent in a backyard, but before then I've never boondocked, I never stayed in the woods. I've always had amenities, so I was a little bit in shock. I think what would have made that transition period a lot easier if I would have saved up for 3 to 6 months beforehand and had at least $2,000 on hand. But at the same time, the whole reason I started this is because I didn't have any extra money between rent and feeding myself. I maybe had $200, but within a 2-week period that goes fast unless you literally stay at home and eat rice and beans. So let's talk about Wi-Fi. I feel like that's the most common question I see on forums of, what do you do for internet? So mainly right now I work off of my phone's hotspot, and I have unlimited data, but it does cap at 10 gigs. As long as I'm not building a website and not uploading big files, that usually will get me through the month just fine. I do try to be very aware of how much data I'm using, so I don't have anything synced to a cloud. I do all of my downloads when I'm hooked up to someone's Wi-Fi. Since I have Apple, I can airdrop it from my Mac to my iPhone and my iPhone to my Mac, and that way if I do run out of hotspot data, I can at least transfer a file to my phone and upload it to the cloud. And then when I do run out of hotspot data, I just find somewhere to work, or I plan my week around stuff that's not data intense. Other alternatives to using a hotspot, because I know not everyone has an unlimited plan. I kind of got grandfathered in and they keep trying to kick me off of it. Solaris, I've had a Solaris, but it's kind of the same thing. You get capped at a certain point, but it's just this little dot that you power on, you buy a data plan for it, and it uses whatever towers are closest. Like if you're boondocking in the woods, if you don't have signal, you just don't have internet, and I don't know if there's anything you can do about that. Other options, and these aren't novel ideas, find somewhere public to work, libraries, coffee shops, bars. I've always had friends that offered me to come over and steal their Wi-Fi while they're at work. Personally, I don't like public spaces because I find it kind of distracting, but on the other hand, I get a lot done in 2 hours because I don't know, I can only do computer work while I'm there. And usually I'm like highly caffeinated at that point. And then another option, Tesla Starlink is coming to my area, but I believe it's a $99 deposit, and then when it's available, you pay the rest of the $400, and it's satellite, and I think it's supposed to be super fast. And I believe he's working towards a RV option, so if you're out in the woods with no signal, I mean, I hope so. It's time for, like, I feel like there's enough of us that we get to have products that are actually helpful directed towards us instead of just like bamboo utensils. Okay, so I just jumped online out of curiosity because someone was saying that T-Mobile has probably the best hotspot plan, and the Magenta Max is $85 for one line, and you get 40 gigabytes of high-speed data and then unlimited 3G, which, yeah, like when I get throttled, it goes down to 128 kilobytes per second, and this stays at 3G, which I think is more than adequate. And then this 5G, I don't think that's too bad either. It's $15 less, but for the first 3 years, I really didn't like working out of the bus or the RV, so I would try to find other places to work. Now I'm really used to it and I prefer it because everything's right here. If I want to make content, I can just switch to that very easily, and I like being left alone, to be honest. So options for offices if you don't want to work out of your van, bus, RV, again, libraries, coffee shops, bars, friends. And I've always had clients that were kind enough to be like, hey, like, you're more than welcome to come here and work. It's nice because if you're there, I can just talk to you, but at the same time, if you're there, they can just talk to you. I did at one point rent an office. It cost me about $250 a month plus $40 on top of it for internet. At the time I was doing a lot of web work, so I remember that's why I did it, but now I'm just like, it seemed kind of unnecessary. And then I also put another like $500 into making it like my own space and decorating it. I think in the end it just kind of made me feel official, which isn't the case. I think what makes me a business is I do the work and people are happy with it. It took a while to get used to, but I'm really happy working from here. I just make sure that I get out enough. Otherwise, if I'm here too much, I kind of go crazy and become a hermit. So that's very important to make sure that you leave if you're working here and living here. And it's a really small space. It can become a very small bubble very fast. Oh, other options. So most tourist areas depend on seasonal help. Like in this area, you have people that just come in for the summer, snowbirds, and then they depend on people with work visas. So people will just come in for 3 or 4 months, and there's always short-term accommodations, and there's a ton of jobs. And I think most people are willing to accommodate for your van RV if it means that they don't have to pay you a salary through the year. So just look at your favorite national parks. If there's a whole bunch of tourists there, I can promise you there's a million places to work. They might not be the most high-paying jobs, but I mean, you mostly just need beer money, right? I think the trade-off is you have more freedom, you make a little bit less money, but honestly, our expenses are like $1 a month for water. It used to be 50 cents, but they raised the prices and everyone's really upset about it. So I make enough to get by. It's not a ton, but to be honest, I'm just not like a very business money oriented person. I would rather spend time out doing things or working on my content, or I don't know, like I just need enough to pay for crafts, food, and my basic expenses, which are mostly business expenses. So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't trade it for the world. I thought about getting a job after I got sick, and I was so close, but in the end I was like, I don't think I can go back to an 8-hour work week ever. It drives me nuts. I can't go sit in an office in a cubicle and so on, being like, how can you do this? I need that kind of fluidity and independence in my day, and I just... Okay. So I am doing a companion episode to this one, like a day in the life, but work. The digital Lord giveth, and sometimes the digital Lord taketh.